The cold winds of the Arctic howled through the vast, desolate wasteland. It was a place where no one dared to venture, a forgotten corner of Earth. Yet, deep beneath the frozen surface, something stirred. Hidden inside an ancient chamber, a single human body lay, in a state of suspended animation, untouched by time. It had been millennia since the human had last breathed, and it was in this chamber that a group of alien explorers made an unexpected discovery. They came from a distant galaxy, a species known as the Exiler, who had traveled far and wide to uncover the secrets of the universe. They had encountered countless worlds and strange beings, but nothing prepared them for what they would find in the Arctic. The Exiler were advanced beings, their technology far beyond anything humanity could comprehend. Their ships could travel faster than light, their weapons could obliterate entire cities in an instant, and their medical advancements could heal the most devastating wounds. But there was one thing the Exiler never anticipated: the power of human spirit. As the Exiler approached the chamber, their leader, Thor, could barely contain his curiosity. His team had uncovered the remains of what appeared to be a primitive species, but there was something different about this human. The body was well preserved, encased in a strange crystalline structure. A machine nearby hummed as it activated, scanning the human's DNA. To the Exiler, this was nothing more than an experiment. Thor ordered the revival process to begin. He watched as the body of the human began to stir, the ice that had once encased it now melting away. The machine's soft glow intensified as the human's pulse started to return, a slow, steady rhythm of life. The Exiler had never seen anything like it. They had revived many species before, but never one quite like this. The human's eyes fluttered open, and for the first time in thousands of years, a soul awoke. The alien team watched in silence, unsure of what would happen next. The human blinked, taking in the unfamiliar surroundings. The sterile, metallic walls of the alien craft were nothing like the Earth he had once known. His body ached, and his mind felt foggy as he tried to piece together the fragments of his past. "Where am I?" the human rasped, his voice rough from disuse. Thor stepped forward, his alien form towering over the human. "You are aboard the ship of the Exiler, a race from the stars. We have revived you from your frozen tomb in the Arctic." The human looked around, his confusion giving way to a flicker of recognition. The Arctic. He remembered the cold, the blizzards, the isolation. But what had happened? How had he ended up here, in this strange place? "What do you want from me?" he asked, his voice growing stronger. Thor smiled, though it was not a comforting gesture. "We seek knowledge. You are the last of your kind, a remnant of a species we have heard so much about. We wish to study you." The human's heart raced. He had heard of alien encounters of beings from other worlds, but he had never imagined being in such a situation. He stood up, his legs shaky but determined. "I won't be your experiment," he said, his voice firm. The Exiler were taken aback. They had never encountered a being so defiant, so unwilling to submit to their will. Thor's eyes narrowed. "You have no choice." Before the Exiler could act, the human did something they never expected. He reached out with a strength that seemed impossible for a man who had just awoken from centuries of sleep. His hand gripped a nearby control panel, and with a sudden burst of energy, he tore it from the wall. Sparks flew as the ship's systems flickered in response. "You think you can control me?" the human shouted. "You think you can tame a species like mine? You have no idea who you're dealing with." The Exiler were stunned. They had never seen a being so full of rage, so full of defiance. But the human wasn't finished yet. He turned toward the ship's central control system, his eyes burning with fury. With a move that was almost too fast for the Exiler to comprehend, he yanked out another panel, sending alarms blaring throughout the ship. "We're not just some helpless creatures for you to dissect. We're humanity," the human continued. "Have you just made the worst mistake of your life?" The Exiler tried to restrain him, but it was too late. The human's instincts kicked in, and he used everything he had learned from his time on Earth to fight back. The Exiler had underestimated him. They thought he was weak, that the centuries in the ice had broken him, but they were wrong. The human was stronger than they could have ever imagined. With a series of swift, calculated moves, the human disabled the ship's weapon systems and took control of the communications. The Xylar, now on the defensive, could only watch as their own ship's systems were turned against them. The human had become the aggressor, the hunter, and the Xylar were the prey. "You've made a grave mistake by waking me up," the human said coldly, his voice full of authority. "You thought you could control us, but you've only awakened the wrath of a species that has been waiting to strike back." The Xylar leader, Key Thor, attempted to reason with the human. "You cannot win. We are far superior. You are but one." The human cut him off with a chilling laugh. "One is all it takes." With a final powerful strike, the human sent the Xylar ship into chaos. It wasn't long before their once pristine vessel was disabled, its crew incapacitated. The human stood tall, victorious, as the alien invaders crumbled before him. The human walked to the ship's control room and activated the distress signal. He had no intention of letting the Xylar go free, but he wasn't going to let them take him down without a fight. His message was simple, loud, and clear. "Humanity is back, and we will never be your slaves." The Xylar had underestimated the resilience of the human spirit. They had awakened something far more powerful than they could ever have imagined. They had revived a human, but in doing so, they had unknowingly unleashed the fury of an entire species. And now the universe would have to deal with the consequences. The end.